Hi everybody, it's Karen at Bible-Based Homeschooling. Welcome to this curriculum chat. I wanted to do a live video today to talk about back to school and homeschool plans for the next year. And I have been sort of organizing for next year, and I have lots of piles sort of as a work in progress that I'm going to show you. But I wanted to get on here today at Bible-Based Homeschooling because I have not done a live video here in a long time. And I was really thinking the other day, like, I need to get back on here and talk about back to school, especially because this is the time where we all need to share ideas. So I apologize for not being on here at Bible-Based Homeschooling for a while. If you guys follow me over at Simply Living for Him, which is my blog and my heart and my ministry, you may have seen me over there chatting about all different things. I've been on there this summer doing a lot of challenges for the summer to keep it simple and to keep in the Word. But that website is not necessarily just for homeschoolers. So I wanted to come over to Bible-Based Homeschooling again and really talk to my homeschooling people out there and show you guys what I'm up to with my plans for the homeschool year. Now, while you guys are coming in, please comment below and let me know that you're here. Hopefully this will work. Good morning, Pat. I'm not seeing the comments on my phone. If you guys follow me over Simply Living for Him, this always happens. I don't see the comments on my phone, but I'm seeing them on my computer, and I've got all different things set up here, so hopefully it will work out. I'm so glad too, Pat, that you are here. So try to comment and let me know how long you've been homeschooling, where you live, if you want, where you, how many kids you're homeschooling. You know, we're going to talk about different plans for our homeschool year. I will be homeschooling for the 12th year this year. We have an 11th grader, a 9th grader, a 7th grader, and a 3rd grader. If you guys have followed me for any period of time, you will know that that is a miracle in itself because I never planned on homeschooling. I didn't want to be a homeschooler. And here I am doing it and loving it. And I can't believe that I only have 2 years left with my baby girl. The one that I, agonized over this decision to homeschool. And I would never have wanted anything different. I absolutely love it. Actually, if you want to hear that story and you want to be encouraged as you get back to school, head over to my podcast where I talk about the unlikely homeschooler and I tell my story about how I began homeschooling. Hey, Dorianne, it's so good to see you on here. Hey, Stephanie, I keep having to look over here because I'm having to look at my computer. Because my phone is not showing me the comments. I'm talking into my phone and I got my computer set up here. So I keep looking away, but that's because I'm looking at the computer. I'm going to show you guys my piles of stuff in a minute. Like I said, I'm going to give people a few minutes to get in. I've been sort of promoting this chat so that I could get a lot of people on here. I have an event coming up. I'll talk about that later. Locally, if anybody is watching and you are a local homeschooler, we have an event in Chester, New Jersey at the end of the month just for back to school encouragement for homeschoolers. But I thought doing a live is just a great way to reach so many more people out there. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you this morning. I'm going to show you my piles of stuff. And I was going to put it in the kitchen and arrange it in neat piles for the Facebook Live video to show you all. And I was like, I'm just going to leave it how it is so you guys can see the real deal. And I didn't set it up all fancy. It's been sitting in piles on the floor, our curriculum for the upcoming year, and my piles are still a work in progress. So I'm bringing you guys along to that work in progress. I mostly have all my plans set for this upcoming school year, but I don't have everything set. So I'm actually going to ask you guys for some advice, and hopefully you guys are going to share advice and I'm going to share it with you and it'll be fun. So if you are just coming into the video, comment. Let me know how long you've been homeschooling. You can tell me what curriculum you're using as we go through this. Dory has 10 children. She has 2 graduated, an 11th, 10th, 8th, 6th, 5th, 3rd, and 2nd. Whoa, and I start my baby and last one in kindergarten. Oh my word. I'm exhausted just reading that, but what a blessing, right? It's amazing. You're going to stay and give us advice, Dory, because you are really in the thick of things. You've got one in like every grade, which is so cool. I love it. I absolutely love homeschooling. I mean, of course, there are days where it's hard, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So I just wanted to quickly, while you guys are coming in, just update again. I know I haven't done a live video at Bible-Based Homeschooling in so long. I've been spending a lot of time over at my ministry, Simply Living for Him. And I have just been growing that ministry, and we did another retreat this summer, and it's been really exciting. And I do live videos over there to encourage women to walk with the Lord, to encourage simplifying, but that website is not necessarily just for homeschoolers. So I came over here to sort of just talk to my homeschooling people. So I'm so glad that you could join us. And I want to talk today about plans for the year. Some of you probably have started already, right? We will be starting within the next few weeks. Now, we live in New Jersey, so normally we start after Labor Day because that's how our public school systems work. And what I found worked really well for us last year, I sort of deviated from the early years where I used to do a first day, like, I don't know, extravaganza. I would give the kids little treats for the first day. We'd make a really big deal out of the first day. We'd usually go like out to lunch to celebrate. And we did a lot of hoopla when they were younger. But what I have found last year, and I'm planning on doing again this year, and this is totally just for us. I'm not saying the hoopla isn't a good thing. If you do hoopla and you love it, do the hoopla. But for us, last year I didn't do a first day. And I have a blog post on Bible-Based Homeschooling about this where you can read more about it. But we sort of transitioned into the first day of school, and we didn't really have a first day. Sort of at the end of August, mid-August, I started saying to the kids, you know what, it's time to start reading some of these books. Because, see, we were going on vacation last year. The first week in September. We went to Disney on Labor Day week. You know, everybody else was starting school that week, and we went to Disney World because we're homeschoolers and we can. So that was my excuse for sort of getting started a little bit early. So we started a little bit early, but it wasn't a big first day. We just did this transition into school, and I loved it. It was so much better than like summer stops and school starts, you know? It was just this like easy transition where all of a sudden we were doing a little more school each week until we were on a full schedule. What I also did last year, I called it a Homeschool Orientation Day, where I got the kids together one day in August and we sort of went over everybody's books, schedule, what was expected, and that was a really good overview for everybody to sort of get on board. I'm still trying to figure out why I'm not getting the comments here. Swipe left to reveal comments. I did that. Okay. So anyway, I'm just looking at my computer. So if you're commenting, I can answer you. And if you comment and I don't answer you, I'm not ignoring you. It's just that my phone is wacky. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys my piles in just a minute. And I'm going to sort of, there's a link up here that up in the header of this video that has an outline of where we're at so far for our plans. If anybody knows me, I'm a, what do I call myself? A loosey-goosey homeschooler. You know, like I like to have a plan, but I'm very open to changing it and letting real life kick in and teach us. However, with 2 high schoolers this year, I do need to have more of a little bit of a rigid structure and plan for them because I have to make transcripts and keep grades and do all the stuff I don't really like to do. Naturally, I don't want to do any of that stuff, but I know I have to. So I do have a plan up on Bible-Based Homeschooling. I have the link here that kind of lists all the books that I have so far, all the resources I have so far. There are just a few things I am trying to figure out yet. So maybe you can help me with those. I'm going to show you the piles in a minute. Like I said, we've had a really weird summer because I had the Simply Living for Him retreat in July. And my mind was just, you know, on that from the end of school until that. And then that ended and it took me about a week to recover to get my brain mush out of the way. And now I'm sort of in the mode of making piles and planning. The kids have been in camps, and at the end of this week will be the end of camp. We'll have just a few weeks where we have nothing, absolutely nothing on our schedule, and that's where I will really make sure I have all the plans finalized. We'll have our little homeschool orientation in there somewhere, and then I'm going to sneak in school. We're going to start without really saying we're starting. We're just going to be like, hey, you know, here's some books I want you to read this week. And then the next week we'll add in more and more and more. Hello, Caroline. She says, good morning. You have homeschooled your grandchildren. That's so awesome. You know what's so funny? I just said the other day to my kids, I will homeschool the grandchildren. If you don't want to homeschool or your wife doesn't want to homeschool, grandma's homeschooling. I don't have grandchildren yet. I only have high schoolers, middle schoolers, and elementary, but I just said that to them the other day. I was like, I will homeschool my grandchildren. If you don't feel led to homeschool, I'll homeschool them. So anyway, Dana says you've been homeschooling for 7 years. Awesome. You have 5 kids, 10th, 8th, 6th, 2nd, and kindergarten. We have about the same sort of age group. Hi, Stephanie. She says this is her 6th year. 9th, kindergarten, 2 in pre-K. How fun. And the little one who's always trying to be involved, right? We'll be starting sometimes end of August. Yeah, I know that many people may have started already, depending on where you live, or you're, getting really close to starting. Some of you homeschool year-round. If you're a year-round homeschooler, you can chime in as well and let us know how that's working for you. For me, I need summers off. I know, but I do. I know that people say that, we should just be going through the summer. I need that sort of downtime, that different schedule. It works for us really well. So anyway, I am going to tell you guys what I have so far for high school. I have 2 high schoolers this year, which I can't get over, a middle schooler and an elementary, a 3rd grader. And I have a post on the blog about it. I'm just looking at my notes because I don't want to forget. And let's see, I'll start though. I'm going to show you the piles. I'll start with my high schooler. So far, this is what we're doing with her, okay? Last year, if you guys remember, I did a live video and I wrote about it on the blog. We did, for 10th grade, sunlight. And I said I was going to do sunlight somewhat. Because again, I'm not good at following somebody else's schedule. And I know that it's a lot of reading and it's a lot of intensive books. And, I thought, well, we'll just sort of have the schedule and we'll kind of tweak it as we go. I cannot believe how we stuck to the schedule and how good it was for us. So if you guys are sunlight people out there, you can chime in as well. What I have found, and this I hope to encourage you if you have kids entering high school. I'm not an expert in high school. All right, we're going into the 3rd year, so we've done 2 years. I am not an expert. I don't know what's right, what's wrong. I know you do what works for you. But what I have found was I did not need to stress in the middle school years and the younger years about, oh, she's not taking enough initiative. Oh, she's not working independently. I have seen the maturity that comes over time if I didn't push it. Okay, we were loosey-goosey in the early years. I will admit, we were very loosey-goosey. We're a little bit like Charlotte Mason-ish, and I was very, used a lot of real-life learning. And when she got to high school, I have really seen a change. She is completely in control of her schedule. And she has taken the initiative to get the work done. So last year I had the big binder, the big sunlight binder, and we did, what core is it? 300, I think, 300. And it was like the modern day, up to the modern times history. And she did practically every book for the read alouds or the literature. We did, let me back up. We did sunlight for history and literature. We didn't use it for Bible because we do our own Bible together as a family. We did our own science, our own math. So it was really just that core. So when I went into it, I thought we'll do it somewhat, but we did mostly all of sunlight. We did a lot of the books that were recommended. I took a few out because I have to say I would look ahead at them. There was one with a lot of bad words. And I was like, I don't like it. There was one that said, if you have a sensitive reader, this was like the Vietnam War topic. If you have a sensitive reader, this may not be good. Took that one out. I have a sensitive reader. She will get upset. So I sort of had to, look at some of the books that way, but mostly we followed the whole schedule, and it was the 5-day schedule, and we're out of the house 1 day a week where we don't do school really at all because we're at a homeschool program that day for fine arts. But what I found was she took the schedule, and I told her, you don't need to do Monday this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this. You just need to get these 5 days done by Friday. And she was so good about doing that. So I am doing it again this year with Sunlight. We're doing the 400, and it's American government. Now, I have to tell you, we are so blessed because we have a friend who I went to her house. She's stopping homeschooling. She has like every Sunlight core and all the resources to go with it. And she was like, you can, have it. You can borrow whatever you need. So we are extremely blessed. So she had the big binder. Now it's the older version. There's a new core 400. Hers was the older version. Hey, it's free. I'm going to take it and use it and tweak it, and I'll add in some of the new books if I feel like we need it. It was free. So I have the big binder, and I have the books. Let me show it to you. I'm going to get up now so you guys, I'm just trying to sit over here so the lighting was good. Now I'm going to show you the piles. So let me take you over here. This room is very plain. Do you see this? This is if you follow me at Simply Living for Him, I'm not a decorator. This is we call it our den. And I'm hoping to maybe use this room more to sort of, I don't have a school room, and I don't really want one, but I'm hoping to use this room a little more for like cozy. You see, it's a little cozy. All right, so we're not there yet. What I need is bookshelves. I'm going to get some bookshelves. Anybody out there selling any? I'm going to get some bookshelves for this area. So like I said, I'm keeping it real. I was going to arrange the piles all cute for you, but I want to show you, this is real life planning right now. So here's the 9th graders Sunlight books, the big huge binder. This is this is the schedule, and I will give this to her. And how I don't want to overwhelm her. I don't give her the whole binder. She takes each week by week. So I will give her 1 week at a time. Actually, I think the schedule's in here. That's the resources. Sunlight overwhelms me, I'm telling you. We tried using Sunlight when she was little, and we were completely overwhelmed, and I never went back. Until high school, we were ready. And high school is really when, it does take a little bit more diligence and more, structure. So I really liked that. For the young years, it was kind of hard for me to stay on task. So she'll get this schedule for the history and the literature. And then there's the writing assignments, the language arts. We will do that as well. This will count as her English credit. So she will do that, and she'll get 1 week at a time. And when she finishes it, sometimes last year she would go ahead because we travel in the spring a lot, and she wanted to be ahead. So these are the books. I have them listed in the blog post. These are all the books. Plus, there's a few missing. Okay, Sunlight is a lot of books, but it's funny because there's some in here I remember reading when I was young. This one's not in Sunlight, this Painless Grammar. This was an impulse buy, keeping it real. This was an impulse buy on Amazon. If you have that book, let me know if it was worth my impulse. Anyway, here's just an example of all the books for Sunlight, American government, history, literature. I'm just showing you the books here. Again, this is the older version of Sunlight 400, but a friend had it for free. So if there are new books I want to add in, I will add them in later. Oh, Shadow of the Almighty. I'm reading this myself right now. Elizabeth Elliot. It's so good. So good. I love it. Basic American Government, and There's Never Before in History. This is her portfolio that I keep. Actually, I took everything out, so it's not going to show you much. But I keep this every year, and this is a sample transcript. This is not hers. And this is where I just keep a log and a record of all her tests and her work and things like that. And I emptied it, though, of her work for this year, but that's where I will keep her work. I'm going to go back on here 1 second. We're going to go back to the piles, but I need to see if there's comments because my phone isn't showing me, and I want to hear what you guys are saying. So let me put my phone back here, and let me know, what are you guys, do you have high school or, uh-oh, my computer went off. Got to get that back on. Sorry, guys. Let me know what you guys are doing for high school, and, you know, what works for you. You know, high school for me is a challenge because, like I said, we're kind of loosey-goosey, and I don't necessarily like having to keep the tests and the grades and everything, because in the early years I always felt like I know how they're doing, you know, so it's a little bit different for me having to do that. Let me just get my computer going back here with the comments again, because I'm not seeing them on my phone, and so I can't answer questions or hear what you guys have to say. Sigh. If I was typing, I'd write sigh. So anyway, then I'm going to show you the 9th grader stuff. And his is a lot different because he's a very different learner. Okay, so you guys have that too. You have very different learners. So far, I don't have as much picked out for him. So that's the Sunlight. That's history and literature. So that's the pile that I just showed you. That is history and literature. Bible, we will do as a family. We've been reading through the entire Bible as a family, and we do commentaries and talk about it and that. So that is our Bible for that. Then for math, let me talk to you about math and science next. Let me just get this going here on my computer. Okay, so math, we have always used Math UC. We have used Math UC. Hey, I just see somebody's from Alaska. Hey, Heather. Heather from Alaska. Free is good. Okay, now I'm seeing the comments. Sorry, guys. Okay, Jennifer says that her girls are taking their initiative and they're burnt out. Okay. Hello from the Philippines. Hey, that's so awesome. Okay, let me get back on here for the comments so that I can see what's going on. So I want to talk about math and science too for high school and what we're doing for those things. We are... I'm sorry, guys. This comment thing is driving me nuts. Okay, so we've always used Math UC. Always. I don't think, except maybe in kindergarten when I had no idea what I was doing that very first year of homeschool, we didn't use Math UC. But I think starting in first grade, we always used Math UC. So this year, I'm trying something different. And I'm a little scared to try something different because I'm the one who always says stick with what works. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. And you should stay with, you know, something that's working. But this year, it's not that it's not working, Math UC. It's just that I think we need something different. I think we struggled through algebra, okay? And geometry was good. We did algebra in 9th grade. 10th grade, my daughter did geometry. 11th grade, now she's going to do algebra 2. I'm terrified of algebra 2 because I know the struggle we went through with algebra 1. I'm not a math person. She's not a math person. So we're doing something different this year. My son, who did algebra 1 in 8th grade this past year, was cake. He loved it. I don't know if he loved it, but he didn't have any complaints. He understood it. He would do Math UC on his own, and I'd say to him, do you need help? As if I could help him. And I'd say, you know, how are you doing? Take the tests. And he would almost always get like an A on the test. So he obviously is a math guy, and we're not. So I wish I had done this with Grace, but we're going to do Algebra 2 immediately following Algebra 1. And we didn't because, you know, you listen to all those things. You should do Algebra, then Geometry, then Algebra 2. So that's what I did. But I'm doing Algebra 2 with her this year. And my 9th grader is going to do Algebra 2 because I'm hoping he can help. I'm being real and honest. I'm hoping the 9th grader can tutor us because he seems to get it and his mind seems to work that way. So... guys, comment and let me know, and I'm checking the comments here. have you heard of Mr. D's math? And do you like it? Do you think it's a good help? I was leaning towards it for them for Algebra 2 because it seemed like if you struggle with math, it was a great help. The other thing is she has SATs this year, which bum me out so bad. I do not care about standardized tests. I'm just that way, you know. I'm all about, I want their spiritual needs met, academic, you know, stuff, just the testing, all that stuff is not my thing. But she's got to do it. So I want her to be prepared as much as she can, especially because she is not a math girl. You know, she loves the arts and musical theater and, you know, English and that kind of stuff is more her thing. So who else is commenting here? Let me check so I am not missing it. If I'm not answering you, I promise you it's because Facebook doesn't like me and doesn't show me the comments. There we go. So, foreign language. We're going to get to that, Natalie. I'm going to get to that. We are, okay, Danielle says, my only high schooler choice to go to public school for homeschooler choice to go to public school for high school, but my 8th grader is looking at staying home for high school. So you are starting with pre-algebra from I've heard great things about teaching textbooks. Hello from Alaska. I love it. Year-rounders, Caroline, very relaxed agenda in the summer. I get that. I think that's really great. Danielle says she schools 6 to 7 weeks and takes a week off. Love it. That's what we did for a while. I have a post on that at Bible-Based Homeschooling about Sabbath schooling where we did 6 weeks, or was it 7? 6 weeks on, the 7th week off. Loved it. For our family, we can't do that anymore because we travel a lot in the spring for homeschooling conventions to speak, and it just doesn't work because we take off more than, you know, we should in the spring. So we need to get a good chunk of our schoolwork done. So we don't take much off, like from September to December. We are like, because we need the time in the spring that we have a lot more of a loose schedule. But I love the idea of 6 weeks on and a 7th week off. Oh, hey, from South Carolina, Allison. Okay, yes, you always filled in the planner, Pat, after. Me too. Me too. I am so not good at sticking to a planner. I always kept track afterwards as well. I have to also say, where I live, I don't have any regulations. In New Jersey, I can homeschool and not tell anybody what I'm doing. So when I say that I'm loosey-goosey, it's because I can where I live. I don't have to, you know, report to anybody. So when I got to high school, for me, it was something I had to do if I want her to go to college or have the option at least to go to college. Right now, my daughter is looking to go to community college for 2 years and then transferring elsewhere. Actually, she really wants to work for Disney. She wants to do the Disney college program. So we'll see what God has in store for her. That's what I keep telling her. So knowing that she's going to a community college first, most likely for 2 years, kind of lessens a little bit of the pressure of certain things like SATs and things like that. But we're still doing everything to, you know, have that option to go to college. Danielle says she schools all year round, but half days, 3 days a week during summer. That is a great schedule. I love that as well. If our sort of family life allowed for it, I could see doing something more like that. Hey, Rebecca, she says it's her 6th year homeschooling, 5th, 4th, 1st, pre-K, adopted 7-year-old special needs. Awesome. Michigan, 8th year homeschooling, 2nd grader and kindergartner. And sure, the 2-year-old, right? They always want to do school. Pat, 18 years of homeschooling. That's so awesome. And I love that you still help moms. I love that you still help moms with their homeschool. Because I hope someday when this whole journey is over for me that I would do the same. Because I just love it. And I feel like I'm so crooked here. My phone is crooked. Sorry, guys. I'm probably like this on the thing. Okay, I feel so distracted because I have to keep looking at the comments. Facebook, if you're listening, because we know Facebook looks to everything, can you show me my comments on my phone so I can not have to keep looking at my computer? Okay, back to the 9th grader. Okay, so I told you history and literature is sunlight. Again, this is all on the website on Bible-Based Homeschooling, and you can find the list of what we're doing. So math. Did anybody comment about Mr. D's? Because no, I don't see any. And again, Facebook doesn't show me everything. So I am looking into a different math this year called Mr. D's. I'm looking to do that for Algebra 2 for my 9th and my 11th grader. And then for science, my daughter, we absolutely love Apologia. It's our favorite science always. But we are going to change things up a little bit too with one of the kids this year with Apologia, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Because sometimes even though it's something you love so much, it doesn't always work for a certain child. So this year for the 11th grader for science, she will do most likely, I'm going to say 95 to 99% sure, marine biology, the new one. Because, okay, we did biology in 9th grade with the labs. We need 3 lab sciences. She loved it. We actually did physical science in 8th grade, and I'm still considering catching her up on the labs. We didn't do all those because we weren't counting it for high school, but I'm wondering if I do that, we can count it for a lab science, but I'm not sure. Okay, so anyway, 9th grade, we did biology with the labs and the dissection. If you go to Bible-based homeschooling, you can see that year I posted when we did the dissections, and I gave a really in-depth review of Apologia biology with the labs. And it was awesome because my dad was a biology major in high school, and he came and did the labs with us, the dissecting the frog and all that yucky stuff that we didn't want to do. He came and did it with us. So it was super fun and super cool to have Grandpa teach. So we did that in 9th grade. 10th grade, we did chemistry. I'm keeping it real. It was torture. For her and for me. We're not math people. And it was very intensive, I felt like, with math. And if you struggle in algebra and then you go into chemistry, it's scary stuff. We got through it. I said to her, we just got to get through it. I know you're not going to be a chemist. I know you're not going to be a scientist, but you need to do this. So we got through it, praise the Lord, with lots of prayer. I'm not even joking. When we would sit down and she'd bring me that chemistry book and she'd say, I need help, I just had to pray. Otherwise, I would cry. So we got through it. So that, and then this year, like the natural progression of things would be physics. And she was like, Mom, I don't think I can do it with all that math. So I'm looking at the marine biology from Apologia. It has a lab to see if we can sort of do that as her 3rd lab science. Any input out there, I would love to have it. Have you done it? I know it's a new version this year. Have you done the old one? How does that work? What do you guys do for science for high school? Allison says, thoughts on 8th grade. You see high school ahead and wanted, oh good, you're a loosey-goosey as well. Yes, I'm going to talk about 7th grade in a minute, and then we can kind of tie that into 8th, especially because I'll also show you 9th. I'm going to show you 7th and 9th, so we'll talk about 8th as well. But yes, it's good to look ahead. It's really good in the middle school years to start, I think, transitioning to more independent learning. Heather says she loves Rebecca because of the structure. I've never been a structured girl. I'm just being truthful. All right, so let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Where am I at? Oh, wait, I did miss some things. I'm going to get to foreign language, Natalie. Biblioplan, I've always been intrigued by that. You love it. That's awesome. Okay, so science for the 11th grader. Foreign language, we're doing Spanish. We've been doing Duolingo, okay? She does that online. It's free. She does all the little things. It kind of keeps track. That's what we've been doing. No great big thing. They did Rosetta Stone when they were younger, but since high school, she's been doing Duolingo. Actually, let me look at my thing here so I don't forget. I'm going to just go through the list, if I can, of what she's doing so I don't forget. Also, we do a fine arts program 1 day a week on Tuesdays for homeschoolers, where they take art and drama and music and they do performance, and my daughter played the cello. They have all kinds of instruments. So we get all that done in 1 day. Count that all as electives. I showed you sunlight. Okay, now I'm looking through my list here. Mr. D's math, hopefully for Algebra 2. Lab science will be marine biology. Oh, another elective that I want to do this year is Foundations in Personal Finance, the Dave Ramsey. I'm going to have, I think, her do it and the 9th grader together. So that's another thing that we're going to do. and I'm looking at my list here. Okay, the blog post is messed up. For some reason it doesn't say 9th. Oh no, there it does. It does. Okay. Sorry, I'm just editing while I speak to you guys. Okay, so the electives will be the foundations, the fine arts stuff, which is drama, choir, voice, dance, music theory, and then she also performs. So the other thing is she wants to do dual enrollment. It's now July, August. We haven't signed up yet. I don't know what's going on with that. She's taking the PSAT in October. That's one more thing. And I think I covered the 11th grade. Let me take you guys over back to the piles, and I'll show you the 9th grader. Now, actually, let me read the list or I'll forget. He really is going to do Sunlight somewhat, because he is not an avid reader like my daughter, okay? They couldn't be more different. He's the science, math, mind like that. Reading is super slow for him. I mean, he can read and he likes, he can read, but if it's like a nonfiction book, but to read a lot of literature, just not his thing, unless it's a really, like Narnia, those type of books, or Hobbit, something like that. But he, as far as literature, I know without a doubt that the Sunlight list will be too much for him. So we are not necessarily following the schedule, but I am picking out books that I think would be good for him for history. I'm looking at the FedEx guy pulling up outside. Bring me something good. Sorry. The history and literature, he will be doing Sunlight somewhat. And again, a friend had the core. So it's core 100. She had the resources. I went to her house. She said, pick out all the books. I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a blessing. So would I spend the money on it? Probably not. I probably couldn't. Would I try to get a lot of the books on Amazon used? Yes, I would do that. But because I'm really doing it because she's giving it to me for free. So, okay. So he's going to start Spanish this year. He'll do that. He's going to do Algebra 2. He's going to do Apologia Biology with the lab, which I think he will enjoy. Cutting up the frogs and the worm and all that stuff is right up his alley. So he will do that. And then my son is very gifted in art and graphic design. And as you guys know, if you've been following me a while, Steve, my husband, has his own business. He's a graphic designer. He's an artist. And Luke, who's going into 9th grade, has already been working under him, doing projects, like actual work for him. So he's been student interning this summer at a local art workshop place, so he will continue to do that. And he is going to take, he's been doing tutorials online for Cinema 4D. I don't know what that is, but if you're a graphic person, you might. So like animation and that kind of stuff. So he will continue with that, and that will be for his electives. He's going to take graphic design at our local homeschool program, which my husband is teaching the class. So, no brainer. He's going to do it for an elective, also the foundations and finance. And then I'm going to show you when I walk over to the piles. I have some extra books for him. One of them, again, this friend who is not homeschooling anymore and kind of let me shop in her homeschool stuff, which she had so much of it. She had a Sandy Queen book, a workbook that looked really good. I love Sandy Queen resources. It's called An Excellent Spirit, Character Lessons from the Life of Daniel. And then the book Created for Work he's going to read. They read it when they were little, but I think at this age it's good for them to read it on their own. I'm just double checking that I didn't forget anything. If you think I forgot something, say, hey, what about, what are they doing for this? Let me check the comments before I take you over to his pile. But yes, we are for language arts for him as well. That is incorporated in the Sunlight, like the writing assignments and things like that. I'm going to try to pull from there. In the past, before we got to high school, we used a lot of Sandy Queen workbooks, the language lesson workbooks. I was always very gentle about grammar and language arts. So I'm going to now incorporate the Sunlight writing assignments, like they have creative writing or research papers or things like that. That will come from the Sunlight as well. Okay, let me bring you guys over. The pile. His pile is much smaller so far because I haven't figured out all the books that I want for him, okay? So here I have my little notebook ready to keep his stuff. And so far, actually, I wrote down here that the elective he's been doing and the student internship. So I like to keep for high school. Each of them will have a notebook to keep the stuff we've done. So this is, again, an older version of Sunlight, but it was free. So these are the notes here for Sunlight 100. And I'm just choosing books from the list here. And we will, again, I'll look at the schedule for the week and I will decide, see this is written in because it's used, and I will decide, you know, what book we're going to use and if we're going to follow the schedule. So this one we really will follow somewhat. So far, these are the books that I have gotten from my friend for free, but there are other books that I need to get for him. And that is the 9th graders stuff. Okay, so as you can see, I have piles of things here that are just piles. This is our Math UC that I'm actually not using. I'm going to put that away. Let me talk to you about the 7th grader while I'm here. Okay, so Sunlight hardly at all for him. I'm just choosing the books from the list. I don't have the core schedule. I'm not using the schedule at all for him. My 7th grader is my most challenging kid. He learns very differently. If you have one out there that learns differently, you know, let me know. So he is my different learner, and I cannot follow the structure of Sunlight with him just yet for 7th grade, but I did pick out these books. This is that Created for Work. Him and the 9th grader are going to read this again. Daddy read it to them when they were little. My husband would read this book to them, but now I want them to kind of go through it on their own. So that's going to be for both of them. And then these are the books. He's a good reader. It took him a long time. I thought he was dyslexic at one point to learn to read, but he's a good reader now. And, you know, I pick out some of the books. This is the Sandy Queen study book, Bible study. A Bible-based study for young adults. So I'm going to have the 2 boys do that. And he will also be doing a different math this year. Let me pick on me. He's going to do a different math this year. Again, I've always used Math UC. I love Math UC, but I just feel like I can't even believe he's going into pre-algebra because he struggles a lot with math. He got through it, but he does struggle. He struggles a lot with all his subjects. My first 2 kids, you know, the older ones, they're very easy. They are, you know, very easy, but he's just had a little bit more of a challenge for me to teach, and he has a little bit more challenges learning. So not that I don't like Math UC, but I just thought maybe he could use something different. So Life of Fred is an option for him. I think that would be really good for him. And then I'm looking at Principles of Mathematics from Master's books, which is something new to me. So again, if you are watching and you use those things, can you please let me know what you think? I also need help with him because I don't have a science picked out for him yet. I absolutely know without a doubt I can't use the general science or the physical science for him for middle school from Apologia, which is what my other kids did, because it is a lot of reading and it's very textbooky for the middle school, and it's just, I just know the way he learns. He needs something more hands-on, more colorful. So I'm just still looking for him, what I'm going to do for him for science. He's going to do pre-algebra for math, like I said, and we'll see if that takes him 2 years. My daughter did algebra starting in 8th grade, and she finished it in 9th grade. So we counted it for high school, but she started it in 8th grade and then finished it in 9th grade. My son, the older one, started algebra in 8th grade and finished it in 8th grade. Now the next one, we'll see how it goes for him. He struggles with math. So we'll see how pre-algebra even goes. That may take us 2 years. I'm fine with that. I want to go at their pace. That's one of the reasons I homeschool, right? To go at their pace and not, I don't want him to just be pushed along and he doesn't know what he's doing, because what I learned with my daughter is if you don't get algebra, everything else is going to build on that. and you're going to be lost. And we were lost in chemistry because she struggled with algebra. And, algebra 2, is my fear, that because a lot of the stuff I don't think sunk in, that we're going to be doing a lot of review and we're going to have a difficult year. So we'll see. Let me tell you about my third grader, elementary school. I only have one left in elementary school. Oh my goodness. So he is going to do, again, just books that I'm choosing from Sunlight. We are not following a schedule at all. I am very loosey-goosey in the early years, okay? So for instance, I picked out a lot of the books from the list. I'll show you here. And again, my friend had all the stuff, okay? So that's the reason I can do this. But here's the list I printed out from Sunlight, and I just highlighted like what looked good that he would like. I am not following the schedule at all. I'm just going to be doing read-alouds with him and, having him as he progresses in his reading throughout the year, read books on his own. Also, because my friend had this, he's going to do this, Money Matters for Kids. And this book is an old Sunlight book, Window on the World, that we're going to do together about praying for other people. And she just gave me these books for free. Okay, so I just have them here. But I picked out some of the books from Sunlight. I remember reading these when my other kids were little, and I love them. So we have Mr. Popper, we have Little Pear, we have Charlotte's Web, Homer Price, which I love, are one of our absolute favorite books ever. Again, all these books are listed in the blog post today. You can see them. And then these are just like fun books that I'm adding in for him. I'm just putting books aside and adding them in for him, doing a little geography, that my friend gave me these books. So anyway, these are just books that I'm adding in for him for fun. Back to my computer, okay, and see what comments we got. So let me know if you guys have questions. Again, this is just, I'm still a work in progress here. So this is just where I'm at now with my curriculum. Like I said, I pretty much have it set for the year, but there are some holes I need to fill in. The third grader, okay, for science, I don't have a curriculum for him, really. We're just going to learn about animals. He wants to do 4-H. As you guys know, if you follow me at Simply Living for Him, we've got chickens and we got new ducks. And he is like our future veterinarian. He loves it. He wants to be a farmer or a farm vet. And so we're just going to take books out of the library and learn about vets and animals. And he wants to do 4-H. We're going to look into that. We were going to get a goat. We were going to get a goat and do the 4-H, but we've been hearing mixed reviews on getting goats. So he may have, he may do the 4-H with our chickens, or our ducks are beautiful. So we'll see. But that's his science. We're just going to read a lot. I mean, he is at that fun age where he just wants to learn about stuff and he absorbs everything in his surroundings. So I don't have like a big formal science for him. For math, he's going to do, oh, I have it on the website here. He is going to do, again, something new for us. Math Lessons for a Living Education Level 3 from Master Books. If you guys use that, let me know what you think, because that's brand new for us. Again, we're just taking a break from Math UC. Oh, Amy, you said you're using Principles of Mathematics 2. You used the third grade book. Okay, I'm just seeing this comment from before. How cool is that? You haven't used the upper grades yet, so we're going to be in it together. Okay, we'll compare notes. And what about Life of Fred? We used it a long time ago when my daughter was young, but it was sort of like supplemental. Did anyone out there use that as their actual math? Let me know about that. Stephanie says, possibly exploration education for my 7th grader for science. I'm going to look into it. I will take all the advice I can get. Amy, your son's going to be reading The Bronze Bow as well. My kids love that. The older two read that. Oh, so yours is heading into 7th grade. Hey, we are in this together. Because my son that's heading into 7th grade is going to be doing the same math I think you just said. And, okay. You're very interested, Caroline, in knowing what we use for Bible study. Bible study for us is not a formal big thing right now. Like I showed you that little Bible study workbook that I found from a friend that I would like to use. Our Bible study, and I'm just being totally, lay this out here right now. For our family, we are reading through the Bible together as a family. And every night, we read through at least a chapter. We just got to Daniel last night. So we are reading through. And then we read through the commentaries, and we have discussion, and we just are letting the Bible teach us. We don't have a big Bible study that we do together as a family right now. We absolutely love our Bible time together at night. It has become like ingrained in our family. You know, after dinner, it's always like, when's Bible? When are we doing our Bible? It's Bible time. So I love it. I love that we read through the commentary in the Life Application Study Bible, that we discuss it. We try to, pick different things out, but that's it. That is our Bible study right now, and we do it as a family. The kids are supposed to be reading their Bible in the morning and having their own Bible time as well. But if you want to talk about like studying it, we just read through it together, and we read the commentaries, and we sort of work through it as a family, and we love it. Now, you guys also know when I started this website, we had used the Bible as our main textbook for 1 year for our homeschool. We didn't have anything else except math, but we used our Bible for science, history, language arts, writing assignments. Everything came from our Bible reading. And it was our best homeschool year ever. But we don't use that anymore because there's various reasons. But you can find all that information at Bible-Based Homeschooling. I have a free ebook where I outline how we used the Bible as our main textbook. And that was when they were younger. I didn't have high schoolers. I didn't have middle schoolers. I think my daughter was in 6th grade, maybe, the oldest one at the time. So you can read how we did that. Danielle says she has her minor in sign language. And you're hard of hearing, so it is a language that you use daily anyway. Your 13-year-old is looking at Spanish for a second foreign language. Awesome. Okay, junior high school science. Your boys loved Christian DVD curriculum series from Westfield Studios. Okay, I'm going to look into that too. Thank you guys for your suggestions. The website for the foreign language is called Duolingo. Pat's commenting on my FedEx man. I'm getting very distracted. I'm sitting in the window, so the light is good. And, I got the FedEx guy before out here. Okay, I'm just catching up here on the comments. Danielle says, how do you plan your Bible time lessons? Okay, I hope that just helped you. It changes over the years. The Bible, our whole schedule, our whole everything changes every year. And I think that's something that's really important for us homeschoolers to realize. Every year is a different season. Every year doesn't have to look the same. Every year does not, or your homeschool isn't supposed to look like someone else's, Every year for us has changed because our lifestyle has changed. The kids have changed in what grade they are in. Everything changes. So it doesn't always have to look the same. So we used to do Bible, in the morning as a family, but my husband wasn't here most of the time. So it has changed to now doing Bible at night after dinner when we're all always together. So I would say, always be aware of the season that your family is in. When my kids were younger, we love. We didn't do anything until we were in that Bible first. But now that they're older, I want them to have their own Bible time in the morning. I'm a huge proponent, as you guys know, on Simply Living for Him, I talk about this all the time, of being in the Word early, first thing in the morning, setting your eyes on things above. And I'm trying to train my children that you don't get out of that bed until you've at least, I'm not saying studied the Bible in bed at 6 a.m. I'm saying at least read something, filling your mind with God's Word first. So I'm training my children to do that as well. And then our Bible study time may be as a family together at night. Kevin says your daughter is entering her senior year and has her own photography art business. That is so awesome. That is so cool. I love it. Pat, you are a rebel. You sound like we're cut from the same cloth. Danielle says you're using Apologia for the first time this year, starting with God's design for heaven and earth. We absolutely love Apologia. You were the same with high school, Pat. Okay, I'm just catching up at the comments. How do homeschoolers get labs in? just the same way they do in school. You can order the equipment. The Apologia, at least, I know a lot about Apologia because we've used it, so I can't speak for all the other curriculum, but you can order the lab materials, you can order, the student notebook to keep the lab reports, and we did them that way. A lot of my friends do homeschool labs with co-ops. They get together with other homeschoolers and they do those labs together. A friend of mine does the Potter School, which is online, and they do the labs actually virtually online. I have friends who are doing dual enrollment this year for their children, a friend who's doing chemistry, so their lab will be at the local college. So there are many different ways to do labs for high school. Okay. I'm trying to get through all of the comments, but now there's a lot, which is a good thing. If I don't address your comment now, I promise I'm going to look back on them later, and I will. And I'll look back on those later, and I will be able to answer your questions. What I would say is go over to the blog post that I have linked here, and you can see our loose schedule, and then, later on if you have questions or comments. And what I do is not what anybody else should do. I'm sharing what we're doing and hoping that it's encouraging and hoping that it maybe can spark some ideas or we can bounce ideas off of each other. But my curriculum plan is absolutely not something that everybody should do or maybe even anybody. It's totally, I always say you can't compare your family to anybody else and you totally have to follow God. Guys, this is the most important thing. Don't follow me or what any other blogger or author or publisher or anyone is doing. Follow God. The most important thing you can do in your homeschool right now is to start praying about it every single day, asking God, Lord, reveal the resources to me that I should use. Show me how to help my child that's struggling. Lord, I can only do this in your strength. Lord, I want to teach my children about you first and foremost. How do I do that? I am telling you, that is the most important thing you can do in your homeschool. Actually, I'll give you a little plug for my book called Home. That's what I talk about in the book called Home. This is being released in Spanish soon. I'm so excited. But this is the paperback edition of Called Home, which is the book where I encourage you to let God lead your homeschool. Academics is important, but for our family, there is nothing more important than teaching our children to walk with the Lord. That is my most important goal in my homeschool. There's SATs, there's high school transcripts, there's all that stuff, but it doesn't matter at all to me if my children aren't walking with the Lord. So I am first and foremost working with them so that they can know God and glorify Him in all they do. So if you guys have any more questions, I'm going to check here in the comments. I think I showed you all the piles. Like I said, I'm a work in progress. My piles are still piles. I need bookshelves. I need something to organize this stuff. We don't have a school room. We have the room to have one, but I always find that, the boys are outside. I don't like to stifle their learning by making them sit in a certain room. We did all that, believe me. The younger years, I had the desk, the chalkboard, all the stuff, right? But I find my daughter, she works independently. She has a desk up in her room. She likes to do that. And then I check in with her. So I am using the room that I'm in right now. I'm hoping to be more that we would use it because it's kind of a room that doesn't get used that much and it's a cozy little room. So I'm hoping to get some bookshelves in here and sort of keep our stuff in here, but I'm not going to make my kids sit in here and do their work at a desk. So that's where we're at with that. I'm still trying to organize the piles. I'll show you the piles again because now they're really a mess because I was showing you them all, right? So I'm not ashamed of my messes. This is my piles of stuff right now. This is the room that I find might be cozy to do our schoolwork in. But I am still a work in progress as far as my homeschooling, now I'm looking for my thing, there we go. As far as my homeschooling plans for the year, we are almost there. We're like 90-something% there. Like I said, I still need to figure out science for the 7th grader who learns very differently, who struggles. I still need to get some more books for the 9th grader for his history and literature, Sunlight somewhat. And I just need to sort of pick out which books I think would be good for him to read, because like I said, he is not going to read that massive book list. I just know it. So I need to pick out the ones that I think would work well for him, and then we will tweak that schedule accordingly. Okay, I'm looking at the comments. Okay, so Danielle says her 18-year-old and 13-year-old are going to do the Dave Ramsey course also. Good. Oh, good. And somebody else here says they have it for their 12th and 10th grader. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, and I'm excited to teach, to have that, to have the Dave Ramsey teach them the biblical principles of managing your money. So I am excited that, okay, a lot of good comments on that one. So that's good. Let's see. Anybody else have questions? Or let me know what you guys are doing. While you guys are commenting, I also wanted to mention, and I mentioned in the beginning, I am doing a workshop locally in Chester, New Jersey on August 25th from 10 o'clock a.m. to 3 p.m. It's a Friday. And I will be giving my sessions, some of them that I do at the homeschooling conventions. I'll be doing my session about simplifying homeschool and my session about being called to homeschool and letting God lead your homeschool. This workshop is going to be different because it's a back to homeschool workshop, but I'm not going to be focusing on academics. I think that moms need to be spiritually prepared at the beginning of the school year. You know what? There's all this stuff out there to prepare us with the curriculum and the school supplies and the planners and the schedules. I don't want to talk about any of that. We're going to talk about letting God lead your homeschool, following Him in each decision that you make in your homeschool. We're going to pray over our homeschools as a group. We're going to pray. We all forget. That's like the most important thing you can do at this time of the year for back to school. It's not getting the perfect planner. It's not setting up the perfect schedule. It's not getting the best curriculum. It's praying over your homeschool. So I'm going to get together with moms on August 25th so that we can pray over our homeschools. I can give my sessions, some of the sessions that I give when I go speaking at conventions, because I feel like, when I go speaking at conventions in the spring, it's wonderful and I love it. But everything is always in the spring when school is ending. And I think that at the beginning of the year, it would be so awesome to have a workshop to get us off on the right foot. Because, we think, oh, this year is, I always say this, right? We think this year is going to be the best year yet. This is the year that we're going to finally figure it all out. We're going to have the perfect schedule, the perfect curriculum. Everything is going to be, in place. And this will be the year. And guess what? Every year goes by and I'm like, that year was not the year. So we have to get past that mindset and say, what is God teaching us even through the difficult things? Expect to have hard days. Don't expect it to always be easy. But most importantly, I want us to be spiritually prepared for back to school. It's very easy to get prepared with all the school supplies, but I think that moms need to be focused on prayer, to be focused on what does God want for your homeschool. God doesn't want your homeschool to look like mine. God doesn't want your homeschool to look like the lady at co-op. God wants your homeschool to look like the homeschool He has planned to use for your family for a unique purpose, right? Everybody's family has a unique purpose, and homeschooling might be a tool that He is using to draw your family maybe closer to Him or whatever. But we have to take our eyes off what everybody else is doing and put our eyes on what God wants us to do. So we're going to spiritually prepare. You can find all the information for that event. It is August 25th. It's a Friday from 10 to 3. I don't have formal childcare available, but you are welcome to bring your kids. It's a kid-friendly event. As long as you think they're going to sit, still all day or whatever. But it's a kid-friendly event. But it's really a day for moms to get out, a mom's day out of encouragement for back to school. All of the information is on Bible-Based Homeschooling and on Simply Living for Him. If you guys follow me over at Simply Living for Him, As you know, we had our retreat this past summer, and we are getting ready to open up this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There's going to be a 3-day only registration for a very low registration rate. Now, Thursday's my birthday, so I figured what better way to celebrate than to do a special 3-day registration for the Simply Living for Him retreat. It's not just for homeschooling moms, just so you know. It's for all women of all ages. So I would encourage you to go over to Simply Living for Him and to find out that information. If you want to get away with other women for like 2 days to just decompress, get rid of distractions, focus on Jesus, then this retreat is for you. So you can find all the information at Simply Living for Him. Again, my book called Home is available on Amazon. This is the paperback edition, which has a journal section in the back with questions and also 31 days of Bible verses for the homeschooling family. So every day there is a different Bible verse, but what I did with this journal, I didn't put down the actual verse. I just gave you the reference so that you can spend that time in the Word on your own. You can look it up in the translation of your choice. You can journal about it. You can copy it below. You can, write down your notes. But if you want to start praying over your homeschool, here's a great guide to start you. There are 31 verses, one for every day of the month, that you can use that I hand select that would be verses that would be really good for the homeschooling family. So that is called Home, available on Amazon, paperback or Kindle, and very soon it will be available in Spanish. I'm so excited because so many people have told me that this is something that people that are non-English speaking could really use. And a reader came to me and asked if she could translate it into Spanish. What a gift. What a blessing. So we have done just that, and we are working hard to get that out to Amazon very soon. Let me just check on the comments. I saw goats. Wait, let me scroll back. Pat says, a goat, maybe a cow. That would be fun. Our friends had a cow. I don't think we're ready for a cow here yet. But we got 2 new chickens. If you guys follow me at Simply Living for Him, you've got to go over and see the chickens. 2 new chickens, 2 new ducks. The ducks are so cute, and there's a whole story behind the ducks. And I won't bore you to tears with the story, but it's a good story. But their names are Dixie and Opal. So you can go over to Simply Living for Him and read about how we got those names. Oh, Dory, you said this is wonderful for 3rd grade science, what I was talking about before with Ethan doing animal science for the year. Yes, our garden, that is total science. My kids at 3rd grade know more about nature and gardening and animals than I knew up until a few years ago, really. I mean, it's total life education right there. So we have our big gardens. If you guys follow me at Simply Living for Him, you know that we use our garden and our chickens and our ducks and all that stuff, and that is totally going to be our science this year. Yes, Caroline says we are all a work in progress. I am one of the biggest ones, I'm not going to come on here and say I have it all together. I am in the trenches with all of you. So, Pat, you said amen. Help each other. Exactly, but don't compare to each other. Do what works for your family. I always say that, laugh when others laugh and cry when others cry. Be there to help a friend, right? We are not in this as a competition. I will bring out my other book now that I got reminded of that. Real Homeschool. Letting go of the Pinterest perfect and Instagram ideal homeschool. This book talks about just those things, the comparison trap. And, what we see online and how we compare it to what we should be doing. We are not here to go up against the world standards. We are here to live for God's standards. So that's what this book is about. And I talk about that all the time when I speak at homeschooling conventions. And it's so on my heart for women to be real, to help each other, and to know that we are not competing against each other, but we are, running this marathon together, not a race against each other. Amy says flexibility is the key. Every year looks different for you as well, right? I mean, every single year we're at a different phase of our life. So, like I said, the past few years we've been traveling more, so we've had to sort of change our homeschool schedule according to that. But those are great lessons as well, going and serving the homeschool community and my kids being part of it. It's still education, it just looks a little bit different, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, there's a YouTube channel here listed. I will check that out, lots of free stuff. Living book recommendations for geography other than beautiful feet. I can't think off the top of my head, but when I come back after, if I think of anything, I will put it in the comments here. Or if anybody's watching, we need some living book recommendations for geography. Oh, what was that book I read? I read this great book with the kids last year. We borrowed it from a friend. It was published in like the 30s. Oh, what was it? Around the World with... I can't think, but these two cute little characters, and they travel, it's more for little kids, and they travel around the world, and they go to each country on a boat, and then they get there and they talk about the country. I have to find the name and I'll put it here, but it was great for little ones. And as we went through it, we would read one country a day. There's each story, each chapter is about them visiting a different country. And so we would then look online and look at the flag, you know, look at pictures of what that country looks like today. That was a really good book. If I could remember the name of it, I will come back here and tell you. I'm just seeing if I missed any comments. I'm sure I did because my computer and my phone don't like to talk to me. I don't know why Facebook doesn't show me comments. It only shows me on my computer, and then it's really hard for me to sort of look at the computer while I'm trying to talk to you guys here. So I feel like I showed you most of the stuff. Oh, let me show you this, actually. Who has a planner out there? What's your favorite planner? Want to know what mine is? Show ya. A blank notebook. That's my planner. I'm just using a blank notebook, and I just write down, you know, for the older kids, the sunlight stuff is already there. And I find that I just need to make a list of what I want to get done for the week, and I write it down in a notebook, and then I sort of keep track that way. I used to be a planner addict. I went through all the homeschool planners. I tried every which way. I always thought, when I get the best planner, then I'll have the best homeschool year. I realized it had nothing to do with the planner, but everything to do with my heart. And I realized that if I was giving the planner a false sense of control over my homeschool, like once I have that set, then everything will fall into place. And I realized later on, it really wasn't about that, that I could keep my homeschool organized just using a blank notebook. So this is just a cute little, you know, cover, but inside is just a blank notebook that last year I would write down each kid and what I wanted them to get done for the week. And now with, like I said, the schedule for sunlight, I don't find I have to write down nearly as much, but it helps keep me on track, like for the third grader, what kind of things I want to do, or if I want to do a fun craft, or I want to do a fun project. Who am I kidding? We hardly ever do crafts anymore. No, I'm just being serious. You know, when you have older ones, they're like, when I had the older ones and they were little, we did all the stuff. We did the little sugar cube pyramid. We made the Mayflower out of stuff. You know, you did all these things. My third grader is like, why didn't I get to do any crafts in our homeschool? But, you know, that's the way life goes. Yet he's got chickens and ducks and everything, maybe a goat someday and everything else out there. But sometimes I'm ambitious, and sometimes I want to do little crafts and things. And I'll write it down in here so I don't forget. I did purchase a planner, which is more for work, ministry, and personal. It's one of those happy planners. I'm not getting all into it. I'm not decorating it. I don't do all that stuff. But it is helping me keep track of things I want to do as far as, you know, keeping up with just the kids' schedules and work schedule and stuff like that. So I do have that for my personal life, but for my homeschool, it's a blank spiral notebook and it works just fine. Esther says, thank you. You needed to hear this today. You're just starting to sit down and plan for your high schoolers. Heather, thank you for this encouragement. Of course, right? That's what we're here for. I want to get on this page more and do live videos about homeschooling stuff. You know, I always get sort of this torn between my Simply Living for Him page and Bible-based homeschooling. You know, if you guys don't know what Simply Living for Him is, that is my ministry, my heart, my blog, and you know, I have been over there a lot this summer using it more for Facebook Live and things like that. But it's not necessarily just for homeschoolers. Bible-based homeschooling was started as a website that is just for homeschoolers to share resources. Now, really, when I started it, I'm going to be completely, truly honest with you guys. It was because at Simply Living for Him, people were approaching me for advertising and sponsored posts and things like that. And I didn't really want to put a price tag on my words because it really was like my heart. And so I didn't feel comfortable accepting sponsored ads over there. So I created Bible-based homeschooling as a place where I can share, different publishers when they have sales. I can share advertising, all for the Christian homeschool family. I felt I needed to separate those two websites so that I don't accept advertising at Simply Living for Him. Simply Living for Him is a ministry. I started the retreats through Simply Living for Him. I use it to encourage families out there to live more simply, but it is not necessarily a business website. To me, it is a ministry. Bible-based homeschooling is a place where I do share resources. If you want to know, when something is on sale or there's a good recommendation for a Christian resource, you can sign up on the website and subscribe, and you'll get my newsletter, and I will share different advertising. So this website here is definitely specific for homeschooling, and I need to get back on the lives more and show you guys more about homeschooling. But like I said, sometimes I get torn between the two. But anyway, this has been really good today to get on here. So if you're watching afterwards and you have questions, comment below. If you go over to the blog today and you see the post where I put up what we have so far for the year and you have questions, let me know. Also, if you're watching and this isn't live and you're watching it later, share what you're doing. Let's share with each other. Let's encourage each other most of all. And also, again, if you're local to Chester, New Jersey, which is northwestern New Jersey, you can join me on August 25th for a Homeschool Moms Day Out of encouragement. I'll be giving 2 sessions about simplifying your homeschool and about letting God lead your homeschool. We'll be having informal times to chat as moms together in group, like a group, to sort of, bounce ideas off each other. And most importantly, we are going to have prayer time over our families and over our homeschools. So join me over there. You can sign up on the on the Facebook page. I have it over here on the Bible-based homeschooling Facebook page, the event, and on the Simply Living for Him page. Please, if you're coming, please, this is important, can you click going and not just interested? Because I really need to have an idea. Now, you're not committed like you have to come if you click going, but it really will help me to know if it's worth having, how many are coming. Because right now we have like 40-something interested, but not a lot going. So if you're interested, are you going? Because then I can plan, we're going to have refreshments, and I can plan on how many to have, and if it's even worth doing, if people are going to come. So please let us know. It's at Grace Bible Chapel in Chester, New Jersey, August 25th from 10 to 3. We're going to encourage the whole homeschool mom to get started on their homeschool year spiritually. Nothing about academics, there's plenty of that out there. Go through, again, the video. If you have any questions about curriculum, again, I'll try to answer them. Don't follow me, follow God, and, just keep praying over your homeschool and what He would have you do for this year so that it is His will for your homeschool. It may not even necessarily be yours. You may be like, oh, God, I don't really want to do that. But if God's calling you to do it, that's what you need to do. So I would encourage you to just submit and surrender your homeschool to God. Seek Him in every decision, curriculum decisions, schedules, and all of those things. And that will be your most successful year yet. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see